Hi, Ben. My name is Vanessa. I am a manager of a reputable research foundation, a wife, and a mom of 2. I am also a previously convicted tri-state felon. I was convicted in the states of Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona for multiple felony counts of identity theft and grand larceny. I spent time in county jail. No one knows about my past.
Today, The Secret Room presents, I'm a secret tri-state felon.
The minute the door shuts closed, the sirens go on.
Oh my gosh.
So I knew at that moment that was it.
You were surrounded.
Yes, I was surrounded.
Hey everyone, I'm Ben Ham, and I'm happy to have you here for today's interview on The Secret Room. Today, what it's like to have a secret criminal background. My guest Vanessa knows the answer all too well. She's a convicted tri-state felon, but only certain family members and friends know, and her employer definitely does not know. Vanessa's childhood friend, Jessica, who's in the circle of trust, found her story so compelling that she worked on Vanessa for 3 years to get her to share her story with us. Finally, Vanessa relented, which brings us to this moment. But before we begin, I want to tell you that Jessica, Vanessa's friend, will be on our premium show, The Secret Room Unlocked, with her take on the story you're about to hear in just 1 week. More details at the end of the show. But now, let's get started with Vanessa and her incredible story of being a secret tri-state felon. Hi, Vanessa, and welcome to The Secret Room.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you are quite welcome. Thank you for coming. You've got quite a secret.
Yes, I do.
Do you think any of your friends or work colleagues would guess in 1 million years that you are a convicted felon in 3 states?
Absolutely not.
Big secret.
Yes, very big secret.
It's a big secret.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what charges you were convicted of?
The majority of my charges were possession of stolen property and identity theft and grand larceny.
Oh boy.
I also got hit with a resisting arrest charge.
Wow. And and did you also use a false name?
I did. I had an alias. I'll carry it with me forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you say you'll carry it with you forever, what do you mean?
So essentially, if I'm ever fingerprinted and they're taking a really deep dive into my history, I'm sure that they'll be able to find out that I have an alias. Okay,
well, we'll get into that later. We're going to run down your rap sheet, but can you tell me what kind of work you do today first?
So now I am a manager at a research facility. It's a world-renowned research facility. I deal with a lot of federal grants, a lot of scientists. So there's a lot of trust that's placed on me.
Do you deal with contracts or data that most employers might not wish a convicted felon to have access to?
Absolutely. There's definitely personal data or information that scientists or research staff definitely don't want anyone to put out there on the web. So delicate information. Do
you have a family?
I do. I am married. Mm-hmm. I've been married for 17 years. I have 2 teenage children.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Are you currently engaged in any criminal activity, or is that life all in the past?
It's all in the past.
Okay, I had to ask.
It's definitely behind me.
So you've cleaned up your act.
Definitely, 100%.
How old were you when stuff was going down?
So this was almost 20 years ago. It started when I was around 15.
Do you have any fear that it might come up and do some damage to your life?
I feel really established. And I don't like to come from a place of fear, but I'm always scared that somebody will find out or somehow it pops up, or the farther up I go in the chain, I'm afraid that maybe it's a possibility that it can come up.
I was just trying to put myself in your shoes, and I would think that even 20 years on, I might still feel this hanging over me a little bit. I doubt you think about it all the time or even every day, but it's just something that's always there in the background.
It is. It's always there, especially if I'm thinking about pursuing a new job. the minute that they ask, have you ever been convicted of a crime? Deep down, I know I have, even though it might not appear so, or it's so far, behind me.
Yeah.
I know the truth.
So let's roll back to before you started your crime spree as a young girl. What was life like?
So as you can imagine, I was fearless. I had no shame. I was grabbing life by the balls, essentially. My parents divorced when I was about 7 or 8, but I still had a very, very, close communication with my father, I should say. But I think by the time I hit 14, 15, I just kind of derailed, and everything just kind of spiraled. I basically wouldn't take no for an answer.
And was that just because you were being rebellious, or were there forces in your life that were difficult to deal with?
Not really. I just think that it was just my personality. Also, my mom she was just very soft, just very gentle. So I just kind of, danced around her, unfortunately.
So tell me about how you got introduced into this life of crime.
Sure. So when I was 15, I was regularly definitely going out places where 15-year-olds are not supposed to be in. And I got involved with a guy named Oscar. And I ended up finding out that he was double my age.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. So I was 15 and he was 31 years old.
This does not sound like a lawful relationship.
No, definitely not. But the connection was there. It felt, at least from what I can, remember, it felt like a very strong connection that I had with this guy. So we started dating. He was in this life.
In the life of crime.
In the life of crime, in the life of identity theft and stealing property.
What was it that attracted you to him?
I try to look back or, think back at what exactly I was thinking. And I can't even picture him as a really good looking guy. I think I was just the excitement of it. It's really hard to put into words. Now that I'm a grown adult, it was probably the age difference that had me so attracted to him.
Where did you meet?
So we met at a pool hall.
And so you told me before the interview.
Yeah.
That you ran away from home and moved in with him?
Yes, I did. So
how did you pull that off?
I know the relationship was short-lived. So what happened was we started going out and the relationship became really intense, and I felt drawn to him, and I was constantly skipping school in order to be with him at all hours of the day. And then eventually what happened is, 3-4 months down the line, my parents found out that I was missing so much school that I was withdrawn from the entire, school district.
If you were living with him, you were not living at home with your mom.
Mm-hmm. So in an effort to continue with the relationship, now I was punished because they found out that I was constantly cutting class. So in an effort to continue to see him, I would, say that I was somewhere else. And then my parents ended up finding out. And then one day I decided I'm not going back home.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And so you moved in with him?
I moved in with him, yes.
And your mom didn't have did she not exercise any legal recourse to get you home?
My mother did not, but my father did.
You were living with your mom, though?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So your father tried to get you out. What happened?
So essentially, my father went to the court and said, I have a minor. She doesn't want to come back home. I don't want to be held responsible if anything happens to her. And if I'm not mistaken, the term is PINS petition. Okay.
For runaway?
Yeah, for runaway, essentially. So now I'm involved in the court system. It's just family court, but now I'm starting to get involved in the court system.
And ahead, Vanessa runs away to South America, and she gets involved in crimes that will lead her to 3 felony convictions. Do you struggle with procrastinating, even if it's putting off something that could save you a ton? I've done it, but I got over it with Mint Mobile's best deal of the year that's ending soon, 50% off unlimited premium wireless for new customers. With Mint Mobile, I'm enjoying great service with the same coverage area as my old provider and with super fast data. Only now I'm saving money. I want to thank Mint Mobile for supporting The Secret Room. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited premium wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/secret. Stop overspending with big wireless and cut your wireless bill to $15 a month when you switch. All Mint Mobile plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. You can bring your current phone, bring your phone number, and bring all your existing contacts. Don't miss out on 3 months of unlimited premium wireless from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. But hurry, because this deal ends September 22nd. Quit stalling and start saving when you make the switch. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/secret. That's mintmobile.com/secret. Upfront payment of $45 is required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Check the show notes. And we continue with Vanessa's secret. You also told me that around this time you went to South America?
I did.
What on earth took you to South America as a 15-year-old? And you went alone?
I went alone.
Goodness gracious.
So what happened, my mother was vacationing in South America. And, I think it was an internal conflict that I was having between trying to make things right.
With your mom?
Being with him. So I ended up going to my father's house while he was asleep. And I took my passport because he knew I would pull something off like that. I took my passport and I went to an agency, like a travel agency that they had before. And he purchased me a round trip ticket to South America.
Oscar?
Oscar gave me the money, yes.
What a complicated young life you were leading.
Yeah, definitely. It quickly spiraled.
Did you surprise your mom?
Yeah, so I surprised her, but she was happy to see me. And since she is so very calm, she said, we'll fix things. It's going to be all right. We'll find a solution to things. And then I was in South America for 10 days and my boyfriend was calling me and he was like, I miss you. And I said, you know what? I'm willing to go back. And then I ran away from South America and I came back here.
Did your father know your whereabouts?
My father knew of my whereabouts when I made it to South America, but on the way back, I ran away from my mother. So there was this big family trip and I kind of told her, no, I'm just going to hang out here. I don't really feel like going. The whole family left and that was my time to get back to the airport and make it back to the United States.
Does Oscar pick you up at the airport?
Yes, that was the plan.
Okay.
So, we have everything set up. He's going to pick me up at the airport. To my surprise, when I make it to the airport, they send me to this office. They gave me, the immigration police gave me this big envelope and they say, go make your way down over there and wait for an officer. The officer told me, you're a runaway.
They had your name.
They had my name. So basically I was already in the system, kind of like a missing person. They were telling me how they're trying to wait for an adult to come pick me up. But the day that I flew in from South America, I flew in on December 31st, very, very late. So after many, many hours of being detained, nobody came to pick me up. So since nobody came to pick me up, they finally released me after about maybe, 7 or 8 hours, they released me.
Oh my gosh. This is unbelievable. So why didn't Oscar come pick you up?
So I think what happened is he realized something happened. I think he realized, she landed and she didn't come out. Something happened. And the fact that, he was, I guess like a fugitive, he made a run for it. When I was finally released, I ended up getting a cab. And, at that time, I don't even think I had a cell phone, I think. And I just made it back to his apartment. Fingers crossed that he would be there to pay for the taxi.
And was he?
And he was, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, what a start.
Yep. After I came back from South America, in a span of 25 days, everything spiraled and went downhill.
What did your parents think of Oscar?
So in the beginning, my mother, she thought the relationship was acceptable.
Really? A 30-year-old dating her 15-year-old daughter?
Well, she thought he was 20. I lied to her. I told her. But unfortunately, in the Latino culture, a 5-year gap is somewhat reasonable. It's not really looked down upon.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
How does your father feel about Oscar?
My father knew I was kind of dating someone, but didn't really have any information. But when he did find out, it was far too late. And I was not ready to give up on the relationship or end it. My father was extremely upset.
But it doesn't sound like you were listening to him.
No, I wasn't listening to anybody.
How did Oscar make money?
So Oscar used to make money by stealing credit cards and creating an identity and basically going on a shopping spree.
So he made an ID card with the name of the person of the credit card that he stole?
Yeah, let me try to explain that. So he had a connection that would make fake passports with a picture of him. And it had some sort of like a laminator on it. And you would spray perfume on it and wipe it down. So, and then you would take a Sharpie and, you know, if you had a very nice handwriting, you would put your new identity, essentially. So it was an ID that he would use over and over again on the spot.
Help me understand, because, for example, my passport, my name is printed in it. It's not handwritten.
Yeah, so you got to keep two things in mind. This is 20 years ago.
Okay.
But this was not a U.S. passport.
Uh-huh.
That was the catch. Yeah, I believe it was like Switzerland or something, you know, something not very common, or something that, a passport that maybe not your average person, you know, would see quite often. So it looked very realistic.
And then the secret perfume spray would erase all the information?
Any perfume did the trick.
Okay.
Yeah, any perfume.
Wow.
Like a cologne, not like a body spray. A body spray wasn't enough. It had to be like a cologne.
Must have been a very nice smelling passport.
Yeah, it was.
So tell me about this scheme. How would he steal somebody's credit card?
What he would do is, with the help of another lady.
Like you?
They would, you know, yes, sometimes I did help, but a lot of my participation was just the need to be with him. Because I do remember him many, many times telling me, I don't want you to go, just stay away from me. And I was just like obsessed with being with him at all times. So yes, sometimes I did participate, yes.
Okay, so he had a partner in crime.
Yeah, he had a partner.
Okay, so tell me what they would do.
So what they would do is they would basically spot the person that they wanted to steal from. And typically it was always a woman. And a woman that perhaps seemed like hectic or had her hands full, or, you know, just looked like she had a lot going on. So he would get out of the car, kind of wrap around the car where the individual wouldn't see him.
Okay, so this is in a parking lot.
This is in a parking lot. Mm-hmm. And then the helper would say, "Oh, miss, someone hit your car, you know, and ran away. Somebody bumped to the back of your car." So the person would be like, "Oh my God, really?" They drop their bag on the passenger side of the car. And by the time that the person is squatting down and trying to see if there's any damage to their vehicle, here comes Oscar and takes away her wallet.
Oh my gosh.
So by the time she comes back up and says, "Oh, you know, everything looks fine, thank you," he has all her credit card and her ID.
Then they fill out the passport with the victim's name, but it's got the partner's picture in it.
Exactly.
And then they go on a spending spree?
They go on a spending spree. And a lot of the times it wasn't clothing or anything like that. It was definitely stuff that was like expensive. Maybe like stuff at big companies where you can get like a PlayStation 4 and it costs $500, $300 at that time, I think. And you get a good 3 or 4 of those, and that would be over $1,000.
I see. And then they would resell that.
Exactly.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay. And you participated in this scheme yourself a few times?
I did. Yes. My involvement was basically distracting the victims. A lot of the times I would go with him, or some of the time I would wait in the car. I felt that being in the store and swiping the card was the true crime. So many times I stayed behind.
A lot of the time it was the 3 of you out there.
The 3 of us, yes.
Yeah. Who was this other person that was involved?
I don't know how they met, but I never really thought much about the relationship because she was much older than him. She was at least 20 years older than him. So I didn't think much of it, or if there was more of a relationship there. And we would just pick her up to get the stuff done and drop her back.
Then who would take the merchandise? Oscar?
Oscar takes the merchandise, and then he would have his contacts where they would meet up and basically, buy it off of each other.
Wow. And then how much would the accomplice make?
I'm not sure how much she made, to be completely honest with you. I don't know. I obviously never made anything. But I'm sure she has to have gotten paid. Yeah.
There must have been something in it for her.
Yeah, but I really don't know how much he paid her.
Okay, I'd like an honest answer to this.
Yes.
And up next, I ask her a question that goes to the heart of her motivations for robbing people. We'll be right back. With school starting again and schedules filling fast, preparing dinner for the family can feel overwhelming. Home Chef simplifies mealtime with over 35 tasty meals and 18 delightful extras each week, including kid-friendly options your little ones will actually enjoy. I really like all the information the website gives you about meals, like how long they take to prep, how many calories they have, and the detailed step-by-step instructions and more. We recently made the classic chicken parmesan with cheesy zucchini in my house. It was fun and easy and took 40 minutes to prep, just as promised on the website, and it tasted great and looked just like the picture. It gave yours truly a lot of kitchen cred. Users of leading meal kits have rated Home Chef #1 in quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. Check, 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 check. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering you 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/secret. And they have over 30 options a week and serve a variety of dietary needs. And it's economical. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering you 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/secret. That's homechef.com/secret for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. You must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Check the show notes. And we're back as I asked Vanessa for an honest answer to a question about robbing people that I really want to know the answer to. Did you enjoy it?
I did.
You did?
I did. I did enjoy it. Yeah, I did.
Well, what about it was attractive?
I think what I enjoyed, I think it was like the rush, the thrill. And I got to put a lot of emphasis just behind the relationship. I don't think it was that I felt good committing a crime. I think when you're that young, you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? But you really don't know the extent of what you're doing, the repercussions that come behind that. You know that you can go to jail but you kind of think that those things just don't happen to you, or that something like that's not going to happen to me. I think I just was so involved with the relationship that I couldn't think clearly.
Was part of it that you wanted to impress Oscar?
I've never thought of it in that way, but it's possible. It's possible. Maybe I wanted to appear like I could handle a situation, like I was grown enough for that type of activity, perhaps.
Can you tell me about a specific robbery that you remember and how it went down?
The robbery that I remember the most was the robbery where I got detained.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes. That's probably the most vivid. Like I can vividly just close my eyes and remember exactly how it happened.
Well, tell me how it started.
I just remember it being a longer day than usual. And I remember we were entering this very large department store and we were making our way to the end to pay for some merchandise. And I'm almost 100% sure it was like PlayStations and cell phones. And I remember looking at all the TVs in the background and I remember what was being played out on those TVs. Like I can't remember that much of it.
What was on the TV?
It was a very popular music video that was, very popular at that time. And I remember seeing that all over the screens. And I remember walking towards the back to the register. And I remember seeing two gentlemen kind of walking a line with me towards the back. And they were kind of looking in my direction.
Oh boy.
And at that moment, I wasn't smart enough to pick up on what was going on. I don't think the other two adults, I don't think they realized. I noticed, but I didn't think much of it. So we make it to the back. It was a successful purchase and we walked out. No issues. We walk out of the store. We're walking into the car and we're going to go and head on back home. The minute the door shuts close, the sirens go on.
Oh my gosh.
So I knew at that moment that was it.
You were surrounded.
Yes, I was surrounded.
How many cops or cars were there?
It's one of those things that it's happening. So it's such a surreal moment. It's very hard for me to tell you maybe how many cop cars, but I want to say there must have been at least 4.
Wow, they were onto you.
Yes, they were under us. And I was surrounded by all corners and every single door. They were there. Just, I guess, in case someone, was trying to make a flea. When they opened the door and they told me to get out, I did. I got out of the car. And then when they told me, turn around, you're under arrest, I said no.
You said no? Boy, you're feisty.
Yeah, I said no. So, and looking back, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, where are you going to go?
If you're under arrest, you need to turn around. And at the moment, it's just, you are not in your right mind.
You got a lot of adrenaline going.
Yeah. The minute I said no, they just body slammed me. They turned me around. They body slammed me into the car and they arrested me. So just because of saying no, I got hit with resisting arrest.
And you gave them your name?
So I said that my name was Veronica.
That is not your name.
That is not my name. So in the panic, and I'm in the back seat of the car, I'm trying to think. I'm like, I know they're going to ask me what my name is. And I said, I'm going to say I'm Veronica.
Okay. Well, did you have an ID on you that said otherwise?
No.
You did not?
No, I did not.
Did they put you and Oscar in the same car?
No, they did not. 3 different vehicles.
Oh, because there was a accomplice also.
Yeah, which I never really thought of how many vehicles there were, but there must have been at least 3 because we were all placed separately.
And so did you and Oscar say anything to each other?
I remember him screaming to me and saying, don't say anything. Don't say anything. And I'm crying. I'm nervous. My mind is racing. What do I do? Do I not say anything? Is this going to be like a slap in the wrist and they're going to let me go later? I know I don't have any prior convictions. So I'm thinking I'm going to be left off the hook in the next few days.
Okay, so where did they take you to the police station?
They did.
And what happened?
So they take me to the police station and then they ask me again, what's your name? And then I said, Vanessa. And the cop looked at me and he said, well, I'm going to find out what your real name is because you're lying to me. Because I had said my name was Veronica.
Yeah.
So I spent like the night in the cell.
You're 15 years old.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Cold.
Did you call your parents and let them know where you were?
Absolutely not. That was the last people I would, nothing. Because here I am. I'm still thinking, the judge is going to see me. And I didn't think I would make it to jail. I thought I would just be like in bookings.
So did you have a defender assigned to you?
I did. I had a defender assigned, a public defender. Some detectives came to speak to me the next morning. And they're real sweet with it. You know, they bring you coffee and they bring you whatever you want to have for breakfast. And I hadn't eaten in, you know, a good 12, 15 hours. So I'm hungry. And then, you know, they start interrogating me of what happened.
Yeah.
And I spill it all out. All of it is out.
Right. Yeah, you're scared.
Yeah. Yeah. What I got from it is like they knew about us. They were following us.
They must have made you from a previous crime.
Yes.
They were waiting
It definitely felt that way. Mm-hmm.
So how did the morning roll out?
So they said, you know, we're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure that the judge is lenient on you. You know, they didn't know I was a minor, though. So in an effort to conceal everything, all the chaos that's going through my life, when I finally got fingerprinted and I'm signing legal documents off, I signed off as I was 19 years old.
You said you were 19 on the forms.
On the forms.
Why'd you do that?
Because I felt that if I said that I was an adult, they weren't going to go hunting down for my parents. I mean, at the moment, that made sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm another person. I have another name and I have another date of birth. That's what I ran with. So then, you know, he said, you know, the judge is going to be lenient with you. And then he wasn't.
What did the judge say?
This was end of January. And the judge said that we were out there committing crimes. And my next court date was March 3rd. So now I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be in there for at least 30 days. Never once did it cross my mind, oh, I'm going to call my parents and they're going to, you know, pay my bail was set at $10,000. That was a lot of money 20 years ago.
It's a lot of money today.
Yeah, I knew no one was going to come and save me. But since I already had left home, I said, well, I'm just going to go MIA. And then hopefully on the first week of March, they'll let me go. I needed to keep this under the wrap. My parents couldn't find out about this. My family couldn't. I'm the only one that's ever been convicted. There's nobody in my family that are convicted felons. So this was a really big deal.
I'll say, so your plan is to hide out in jail for 30 days.
Yeah.
Did anybody figure it out?
They did. And there's a lot of mystery behind how exactly they found out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, and I guess I'll never find out, but I think Oscar basically said, I need to do something. And I think he got in contact with a friend, and they went to my mother's house to basically say, your daughter is somewhere up in, you know, New Mexico.
So your mom is back from South America.
Back from South America. So the guy that went to the apartment actually went 3 apartments down to another girl that was exactly my same age and had my same name. So when they told her mom, Vanessa's missing, she said, no, she's right here. She's here. So then that's when they figured out maybe it's Vanessa from down the hall that they're trying to get this information to. So the lady went to my mom and told her, listen, such and such came by saying that your daughter is in New Mexico.
That's a different state. Where did your mom live?
So my mother was in Arizona.
Okay, so was that nearby?
Yeah, maybe like, you know, it was definitely easy to reach. A little bit of a drive, but reachable.
Your felonies were in Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona.
Yes.
Right around the 4 corners. So you were traveling around between those 3 states.
Yes, I was traveling interstate. Yeah.
So your mom found out you were in jail?
Correct.
Did she come down to see you?
They knew I was somewhere in New Mexico, but they couldn't pinpoint out exactly where. So they ended up looking for me in the hospitals, in the morgue, and they finally ended up in a couple of county jails. Wow. And every time they would give my real name, they couldn't find me anywhere. They ended up pinpointing exactly the jail that I was in. And my father said, she has to be here. And I'm pretty sure she changed her name.
How did he figure that out?
I think he figured that out because I think I'm a lot like him. My father is... I think my father is just Smart. I guess he just figured out, like, if she's going to do something, it's going to be, this is why we can't find her. We have to be able to find her. So if we can't find her, she must have changed her name.
So then how did he figure out who you were?
So the reason they figured out is that they kind of pinpoint when I went missing or when I completely stopped communicating. And then they started looking at the women that were getting intake, which is not, it's not that many. And then they started scanning pictures. And then they're looking picture by picture by picture. And then they show my father my picture. And it said, is this her? And that was me.
Well, that must have been a shock for you when he showed up.
It was a shock because I didn't know that they knew.
And what on earth did you say to them?
When you're in county jail, there's certain days for visits. So one day they called me down and they said, you have a visitor. I make my way down and I'm thinking it's a detective because I had, like, a week prior, had detectives coming around and, asking me about other crimes. But by that point, I didn't want to speak to anybody. So I'm making my way down the hallway and there's very small little narrow windows where you can kind of see the visitors. And I'm walking down and I see them from the corner of my eye, my mother and my father.
Oh, no.
And there's no going back. There's no going back because it's kind of this hallway where you can't really turn around. So I walk out, I see them, and I just sit down and I just start crying.
Yeah.
I start crying, and thankfully at that moment, they understood me.
Well, they must have been so relieved to see you.
Right.
They thought you might be dead.
Yeah, so they were supportive. They said, we're here. I don't know. They were just being very supportive at that moment. That was difficult.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how many more days did you have left in jail when they found you?
So I had no idea. I had no idea how many days I had left, but I knew I had upcoming court visitations. So when I went back in the beginning of March, he sent me back another 2 weeks, another 3 weeks. And now I'm having more frequent conversations with my family over collect calls. And I'm letting them know, hey, even if the judge releases me, I won't be released because I have an outstanding warrant. And they did not understand that.
Meaning you're going to have to go back to jail?
Right. So I was trying to explain to them that even though that maybe this judge would release me, I still had outstanding warrants in other places like Colorado and Arizona. So I might be released from this issue that I had here, but I was going to get picked up immediately. And they didn't really understand that concept. And so finally, when the judge says he's going to release me, I knew I was just going to go back, to another jail.
What was your outstanding warrant for?
Same thing. Grand larceny, possession of stolen property, conspiracy to commit grand larceny.
Just in a different state?
Just in a different state, yeah.
What happened at the hearing?
My mother was there. And I think that's what made the difference. My mother never really went to the court hearings. My father was heavily involved. But my mother, I had a baby sister at that time and it was far away from home. So my father always made the drive. But that particular day, my mother went and she was crying. And I think that moved the judge.
So he let you off with time served?
No, he said ROR, which means release on own restriction. That means I'm letting you go, but the next time you have a court hearing, you need to come back. I'm not off the hook, but at least they released me from here.
The judge didn't know you had another warrant outstanding?
They do. They know you have, a warrant because if not, they would just take your shackles off and you can walk out of the court. So they know you have an outstanding warrant. So right away, they have everything scheduled for your transfer.
So you got transferred to another jail?
I got transferred to another jail.
Are these juvenile detentions?
No, they are not.
Since you're a minor? They're not.
No, they're not juvenile centers because if you're over the age of 16, you are treated as an adult. You're tried as an adult.
And by this time, you're 16?
Yes, I just turned 16.
And so where is Oscar during all this?
So we're actually in the same jail. But of course, they have the women's hall and then they have the men's hall.
Did you have any communication with him?
I did, and I shouldn't have.
How did you talk to him? Hear the clever prison hack Vanessa used to send Oscar a message and the price she paid for it? And ahead, an unexpected and emotional act of kindness from her dad. Stay with me.
Staying on track with weight loss can be a challenge. It's easy to feel like you're the problem, but you're not. That's where Hers comes in. Hers isn't a set program. It's customized for you. And you're not alone. Hers comes with 24/7 support, so you're never left hanging. It's your health and goals put first, with real medical providers making sure you get what you need to get results, all from the comfort of your couch. Start your free online visit today at forhers.com/secret. I feel like my weight loss effort was stalled, but with Hers, the plan is personalized to keep your progress going. When you use Hers, they connect you with a medical provider who will work with you to determine the best treatment option for you. The plan is flexible, not restrictive, so you can get back on track. Hers provides access to affordable weight loss plans built around oral medication kits and GLP-1 injectable options, with oral medication kits started at just $69 per month with a 10-month plan when paid up front. Whether you want to lose weight, grow thicker, fuller hair, or find relief for anxiety, Hers has you covered. Visit forhers.com/secret to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's forhers.com/secret. Forhers.com/secret. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not approved or reviewed for safety, effectiveness, or quality by the FDA. Prescription required. See website for full details, important safety information, and restrictions. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. Check the show notes for the link.
And we are back as Vanessa figures out how to send messages to Oscar inside prison walls.
So, I'm trying to understand all the terminology of jail, and I have no money. I don't have anything on my books. My family doesn't know I'm in there. So I can't even send a mail out because I don't have a stamp, or I don't have paper, pens. So they have a system in the jail where you can drop a kite in the library. So basically what that means, a kite is basically a letter. So you leave a letter somewhere, or there's people that do it for you, and you put it in somewhere in the library. And then when it's the men's turn to go to the library, they pick up those kites and then they hand them in to whoever, the letter is for. So that's how we had communication.
And who is arranged? I assume this is against the rules.
It is against the rules.
And so who's managing it?
I really don't know. I remember I just gave it to somebody and they put it in the library for me.
But was it a fellow inmate, or was it somebody who...
Yes. Yeah, fellow inmate, not a correctional officer. A fellow inmate. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how did your communications with Oscar go? You said looking back at it, you should not have been talking to him.
I should not, because I paid a heavy price for it. The letters were hot, steamy, inappropriate, even though there was still a full-blown relationship going on, even behind the walls and behind, physically being separated. And there was all these dreams of we're going to get out and we're going to live back together, just absurd things. I paid a heavy price for it because a correctional officer found out that I left a kite, and basically you have a hearing and they punish you for it. So I had a 30-day lockdown for that. So not only was I in jail, but they gave me a 23-hour lockdown. That meant that I was completely isolated for 23 hours of the day with no human contact. And I was only let out for an hour to bathe, to get some sun, and to make a phone call.
How long did that last?
That lasted for 30 days. That was very difficult.
This is solitary confinement, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had
This is
that for
solitary
30
confinement.
days for dropping a kite?
Yeah.
That sounds like a very severe punishment.
Yeah, it was. It was. And I can't tell you what being 30 days in solitary confinement, it does to you mentally. You are in a capsule. You're there, but life isn't moving. It's a very out-of-body experience. That's the best way I can describe it. Sometimes you have money that's being put in your books, and you can get books, you can get a little radio, you can maybe get coloring books. I had nothing because my pride wouldn't allow me to get in contact with anyone. Eventually I did, but in the beginning and those first 30 days of confinement, I had nothing. I had my thoughts. That's all I had. So that was very difficult.
And how did they feed you? They put a tray through the door?
They put a tray through the door, and I would get fed 3 times a day, at 7, at 12, and at 5 o'clock. I dropped 40 pounds. And there was a lot of times where they would say, you better eat. If you don't eat, we're going to put you on suicide watch. I just wouldn't eat. I wouldn't eat. I would look at the food and I would grab the milk and I would go back to bed. And they said, you have to eat. And, after a while, you do start eating. But again, I didn't have any money in my book. Sometimes you can get, you have commissary. Sometimes you can get, chips, granola bars. You could get a couple of, I had nothing. So that made it even more harder.
I'll say. Was the second jail better than the first?
Oh my God, it was worse.
How?
It was worse because it felt like a prison. The security was at another level. Basically, when I went to the first jail, I thought it was horrendous. But when I made it to the second one, I said, oh my God, take me back to the first one. The first one felt like a 5-star hotel versus the other one. The food that's probably the worst thing. The food was worse. At that point, they already knew I was under the age of 18. So I was in an adult jail, but the minors were even more, had more wires and it was like being in a jail and then shoved into another gate.
Terrible.
And it was intimidating because you would walk around and the jumpsuits were not orange. In that jail, the jumpsuit was based on your crime.
Oh.
So obviously, if you had a red jumpsuit, you were there for something serious, like a murder or an aggravated assault. If you had yellow, it was more moderate. And if you had white, it was petty.
What was yours?
Petty crime. Mine was white.
Okay.
Mine was white.
So the correctional officers probably treated you a little bit nicer?
Not really.
Yeah.
Because they're just like this young girl, young and dumb, and honestly, you need to be treated as such.
Yeah.
That's not the place for compassion, unfortunately.
How did you feel your time during solitary?
I felt like I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
I felt like I was dumb and I wasn't getting it. I felt like all these bad things were happening to me very rapidly and I wasn't getting it. The first one was being taken out of school. That wasn't enough. Then having to leave home, not speak to my parents. That wasn't enough. Fleeing to another country. That wasn't enough. Being all these things just weren't enough.
What were you looking for, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know because I can't say I was missing this or I had a bad upbringing. I can't even blame it on that. I really don't have an answer.
Do you remember the day that your solitary confinement ended and you went back to your regular cell?
Yes, I do. It felt like I was free, even in considering the circumstances, obviously, because if I wanted to now, I can have chow with the other inmates, being able to speak to another person, I didn't have that. So even though we're all criminals and we're all there, and, there could be some fights going on, but there was a sense of being able to speak with someone, turn the TV on, use the phone, go outside and, shoot some ball. That's a sort of a distraction. But when you're in solitary confinement, there's nothing. There's no human interaction.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Did you have a cellmate?
They did put me with a cellmate.
And how was that?
She was 16. Her father was like a commander of the U.S. Navy. And she just also was like me, 16, 17, from, relatively good upbringing. And she just kind of derailed. And at that time, she was a lesbian. And we had respect for one another. And then you get too comfortable with that person. Because you are sometimes even showering together. You're defecating in front of each other. But it comes to a moment that it doesn't matter. There is no shame. You're doing it, I'm doing it.
Did you have any problems in jail with correctional officers or other inmates?
I didn't have any issues with anyone, but I would often get hit on, like, sexual advances by other women, older women. But I also got sexual advances from correctional officers.
Oh, really?
And they knew I was a minor at that point.
Oh my gosh, that is awful.
Yeah.
So how did you handle those situations?
I would be flirtatious. I would. I'm not going to say that I wasn't or I was shocked. It was nice. You're in a jumpsuit and there's a man telling you, how pretty you are and all these things. It's a nice feeling. And these are older men again.
Which you liked.
Yeah.
Did you have any sexual experiences in jail?
I did not. And, but I think it's because of that I was in a jail. I think these things really go down in prison. These are the stuff that you hear that goes down in prison. I think it's a lot more difficult for it to happen in a jail, but I'm sure it could. It just felt like, at least to me at that time, thinking back, I can't really think of a place maybe that I could have went for that to have happened. But then again, I'm sure, looking back at it, I'm sure that there is a place. But a lot of their sexual advances were like, oh, when you get out of here, I would like to see you.
Right. Well, what was a correctional officer offering?
Going out and having sex after I was released. But honestly, I don't think that actually would ever have happened. I think it was more like the excitement of it. The back and forth, the talk. It was more like, my job is boring. This is exciting. She's young. But that's not really going to happen.
And before the interview, you had told me about, something that happened in there that was really humiliating. Can you tell us about that?
So the first time that I got strip search.
Oh my.
After a visitation, which was actually the one where my parents came, because that's the only time where there's potential for bringing something in, not when you're seeing a detective. So I'm seeing my parents for the first time. The meeting is over. And then I go back in. I'm thinking I'm just going to go back to the general public. And then they said, no, you got to do a strip search. So I'm like, okay. And I start taking everything off. But this was everything off, completely naked. And I had no problem like taking my jumpsuit off. But I think the most humiliating part is they make you lift up your bra, take off your bra, and they make you lift your breasts to make sure that there's nothing in between your breasts or under your breasts. And if that's not humiliating enough, you need to take down your underwear, turn around, squat, open up your cheeks, and cough. That's the part where that took me back. I just didn't know that happened.
Did they do a cavity search?
Yes.
Gosh.
Yes. So, and the hair behind the ears, But I think it was more the trauma. Like, I didn't know that the strip search was that intense. So it's very humiliating. But after a while and after a few visits, it's like, no problem.
How many times were you subjected to that?
At least, after my parents found out I was getting visits, at the very least once a week. So I must have got at least 15, 20 strip search, at least.
Do you remember your last day?
Yes, I do. The day that I walked out, I completely walked out of jail, the first day that I was free, I had a correctional officer look at me and he said, "You'll be back. It's just a matter of time. You'll be back."
That's encouraging.
It was a day full of emotion. I was at the stretch of all the jails that I had been. So I knew that if I was released from this one, I knew that I would be free.
And how much time total had you been in jail at this point?
I had already been in close to 5 months.
Okay.
Close to 5 months. And so I had court. Let's say, for example, the court was on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to court and basically he told me, your bail is $25,000. And I said, well, if in the first one I spent 3 months and it was $10,000, I'm going to spend here a year. That was my logic.
Okay.
And then they said, but you have court tomorrow, so you got to come back tomorrow. And I'm like, well, that's a little off, right? But okay. So then,
no problem.
Yeah, so I go back to court the next day,
mm-hmm.
and the judge looks at me and he told me, "So how was your first night in jail?" And I'm just kind of laughing nervously, first night. In my mind, I'm like, it's been months. But I guess he didn't know everything that I just been through. He's looking at my case. He's looking at that just yesterday.
Right.
I got picked up. And then he said, "Today's your lucky day because after today, we're closing the court for 2 months for the summer. So I'm going to release you."
Wow.
And you're just kind of out of words. I was in a very, very small town. It really didn't even look like a courthouse. It looked like a 2-story house. And with the little jury section, and the guard comes up to me and he removes my shackles from my wrist, from my waist, and from my legs. And he says, "Go home."
Wow, you're free to go.
He's like, "Go." And in my mind, I'm like, where the fuck am I going to go?
Yeah, where is home? Oscar is still in jail.
But you're just happy. And being so, spontaneous and resourceful, I'm like, I'm going to get home. And at home, right. And home at that time was my mother's house.
Okay.
That was home. So I walk out of the court and then I said, well, how the hell am I going to make it home? I'm literally going to have to just hitchhike. I have no money. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have no cell phone. There's nothing in town. And I just start walking. And I start walking and my father pulls from a parking lot. And I see him and I'm just like, oh my God. He told me when he picked me up, he said, "I knew you were going to get out today. Your public defender told me you were going to get out." But I didn't know. No. So
your dad was there. You must have been so happy to see him.
Yeah, but sorry, I'm getting emotional.
It's okay. Because your father showed you such kindness?
I think looking back, I was happy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But he was more happy. And I think because I'm a mother now,
yeah,
it hits differently. So I think that's why I'm getting emotional.
Well, it was a very extreme part of your life.
You don't understand, right? You don't, you put yourself, you're the one living through it. But now as a mother, I have a different perspective of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did your father give you a big hug?
He did. He gave me a big hug and he said, the first thing he told me, "What do you want to eat? Tell me, what do you want?" And I'm just like, I want to go to McDonald's and I want to have a big burger with a Coke and a large fry. That's what I wanted because, I was craving like some fast food. I didn't have anything in months. I had dropped so much weight and that's the first thing I did.
And so then you went home with Dad?
So I went home. It was a long drive home and then we made it to my mom's house. We spent the night there. At this point, my mom had moved. So I was coming into a new apartment, a new room, and I just kind of fell back into my safe space, how it should have always been.
Yeah.
But, the happiness was short-lived.
Why?
Because, yes, I was happy. Yes, I was free, but I had all these pending cases. Right? Just because I was free doesn't mean my cases were closed. I was just not incarcerated anymore.
So there's a chance you could go back to jail.
Right. Or I have court dates or I still have to go. There was still a lot in the air. I didn't know the trajectory of the end was not in sight quite yet.
So what happened?
I started having court dates and a lot of these court dates were back to back. I remember vividly there was 3 consecutive days of 3 different courts in 3 different states. My family wanted to murder me because my father, my uncle, my mother, people were taking off from work to drive me, to pay tolls, to pay gas, to take the day off. Because here you go, I'm a minor and I can't drive myself. Right? So, the irony of it. So my father was just, yapping and just, scolding me. So there was a lot of that for months and months.
And so this whole time, are you in touch with Oscar?
I am. Unfortunately. So by the time I make it back home, I find out that he got deported. And I don't know how, but I had his number. And we had constant daily communication, which shouldn't happen, but it was happening. And I felt like everything was pulling us apart. Everything, our family, physically, the law. It was like him and I against the world, essentially.
So you were hoping to get back together with him?
Yeah, that was the plan. That was 100% the plan. And about 2 months talking and kind of planning everything on how we were gonna get back together, he made the trip through Mexico, and he got caught, detained, and they sent him back. So that was fail number 1. Attempt number 2, he tried to come back into the United States with a fake passport through Europe.
Wow, he wants to get back to you.
Yeah. He got caught and it just didn't happen. And when that didn't happen, we said, well, I guess the only logical thing now is for me to go down there.
Was there a third attempt?
There was. That third attempt was mine. And that should have worked. And he got me a fake identification from a country down in South America. And he sent it over through an agency, like a package, with clothes. And I picked it up. And now I had my passport with my picture and my fake identity. And I purchased the ticket, a one-way ticket.
Oh my gosh. And this is to a country in South America?
Yes, to a country in South America. And by the grace of God, my mother found it.
Wow. What did she say?
She got my father involved immediately. They almost murdered me, of course.
Yeah, they're like,
yeah.
Vanessa, have you not learned your lesson?
Yeah, you don't get it.
I mean, come on.
You don't get it. And I deserved every bit of it. They've ripped it apart. I felt like a prisoner in my own home because I was released early in the summer, and that summer I didn't go out anywhere because everywhere that I went, it's like, well, what are you doing and who you talking to? And because they knew that I was like a ticking time bomb.
Well, you were a handful.
I was. And then that didn't work. And I think that when that didn't work, I think that there was something in me that said, it's not meant to be. Finally, I guess I got some sort of clarity. And I'm just like, well, it's not going to happen. But we kept speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But now there was not an attempt to go. We would just speak.
So things are cooling off a little bit.
They are.
And did it eventually just end?
It did. It eventually just ended because I decided to drop out of high school. When looking back at it, it was absolutely the best decision I could have made because I was just not built for that environment anymore. I wasn't. I was going to be 16, and by the time I graduated, I was going to be 20 because I was so far behind, and it was not a good route for me anymore.
So what did you do?
So I dropped out and I got my GED, and I got it like in 2 months. I've always been very intelligent. I just wasn't really into going into school. I was just interested in just doing my own thing. And I got into college and I was getting excellent grades. Excellent. I was excellent. And then this is the MySpace era. And while I was incarcerated, kind of MySpace kind of exploded and all my friends and I started, having these connections. And then Oscar started just being something. It wasn't my center of attention anymore. I had kind of things going for myself. I started getting a job. And then eventually I started dating.
Was there a moment when your relationship officially was over? Did you have a conversation with Oscar?
I did. The relationship with my husband was picking up.
Mm-hmm.
And I would still talk to him occasionally. But I think there was just like a lot of lust there. It was not love anymore. Or like, I guess like the commitment, I really don't know. But the moment that I found out I was pregnant, I called him and I said, you know what, we can't speak anymore. That's it. I need to close this chapter of my life and you need to be something from the past.
What did he say?
He said that he understood. And this is when you first can do like web chats. And I went to like a internet cafe, yeah. And we had like this whole web thing, and he saw me pregnant, and he was like, you look beautiful. So it was a very peaceful conclusion to all the chaos. And I think we knew it was coming to an end.
Did he straighten up his life or did he continue with crime?
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it. I don't think he's the type of person that would have ever straightened his life.
You must have felt a sense of loss, even though you knew it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, because, you emotionally are very into the relationship. You know, as bizarre as it might sound, I do really honestly feel that there was a connection there.
Yeah.
That there was a meaningful and an intense relationship, whether good or bad, whether, he had the upper hand because he was the adult. The emotions were there. So yes, it was a loss.
So you got through that.
Mm-hmm.
You're with the man who would become your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, did you get through all of your court cases and get everything wrapped up legally?
So before I started dating my husband, things started wrapping up. Like my cases started closing or coming to an end. But I had a 6-year high-risk felony probation.
And what does that mean?
So basically what that means is that once I started dating him, I was on probation. We were living together. I was on probation. I had both of my children and I still was on probation. So it was something that was in my past, but it was heavy on me.
You told your husband all of this at some point early in your relationship?
I did, but never like this. It was always like in pieces. He knows like the picture, but I never sat down and told him A through Z. He knows all of it, but I think it didn't seem to really be much of a significance to him, or it didn't seem to bother him.
If he listens to this podcast, is he gonna learn new details?
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
He would.
Does he know you're interviewing with me?
No, he does not.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot that you maybe don't want to say. Things that, the fact that I said that it was a loss. if he were to hear me say that relationship was a loss, he wouldn't understand. And until you feel it and you go through it, you just don't understand it.
Do you think that you'll share the podcast with him?
No.
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think I would ever share. He knows what he needs to know. He knows a lot. He knows
the truth.
He knows all of the truth. I think what he doesn't know are my feelings, my true deep feelings.
Yeah.
Right. But he knows all the details.
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, I don't think you're wrong for shielding him from that.
Yeah. There's some things that you need to keep for yourself.
Yeah. So do any of these offenses show up on your police record?
Not that I'm aware of. So if someone runs my record, I really don't know what comes up. But what I do know is that it's never been an issue to get any sort of employment, or there's never like a second round of background that needs to take place. It's very straightforward. I apply for a job, they run a background check, and I get hired.
And that's because you were a youthful offender?
Yes. My public defender, she told me, your case is unheard of. You are extremely lucky that all 3 of your cases are sealed. People are lucky just to have one. So even though I have not been convicted because of my status, I still know the truth.
Right. So you were a minor when all this happened.
Yes.
And I guess you can be convicted of a felony as a minor, but the consequences are different than if you were an adult.
They are. Every state is different. So essentially what happened, at least at that time, 20 years ago, the law, if you're over the age of 16, you are still a minor. But if you're convicted of a felony, then it's up to the judge's discretion whether he wants to basically seal your record or not. And I was fortunate enough that in the 3 different states that I was convicted in, I was granted, youthful offender status.
Wow. Okay. So you can legally say, when a prospective employer asks if you are convicted of a felony, you can legally say you are not.
That is correct.
Okay.
Deep down inside, wouldn't consider myself like a felon or someone that can't be trusted or someone that is just out there doing the wrong thing.
So how many crimes were you convicted of in total?
It must have been, I'm sure there's even charges that I'm not mentioning. They have to have been at least 12 or 13 in combination. And they were all Class E felonies, which is the lowest felony that you can have.
Are you worried that if you get arrested ever for something, that it will show up?
Yes. It's things that, that I think about. But I don't think I would get convicted of another crime. I do everything that's in my power to stay away from anything that can bring me any sort of issue at all. But if I were, I'm sure that when you're in a criminal setting and they really want to do a deep dive into your record, I'm sure they can see something. What I think that they cannot do is hold it against you. They're not supposed to hold it against you because you were a youthful offender. But that I think that they can see it.
Do you think if your current employer knew that you were convicted of felonies, that they would release you from your job?
I think ethically, maybe yes. Mm-hmm. But I think they would put up a really big fight.
What do you mean?
I think that they hold me to a very high regard because of the work that I've proven to be able to do and how I carry myself. There's a point that you know what a person did in the past, but now you've established this relationship with someone. You're just kind of like, that can't be that.
So what I think you're saying is that if they had known you were a convicted felon during the hiring process, they would not have hired you. But now that you've proven yourself, they would keep you.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
In my heart, at least that's what I like to believe.
So who knows your secret?
Obviously, my family, not my children.
Not your
My children do not know. This is something, honestly, that we don't really even speak about anymore, because it's like
so long ago.
It's not so much it's not so much that it was so long ago. Like, so much has happened that is just kind of like a different person, it just doesn't really have anything to do with me anymore. Right. So we don't bring it up at all.
Yeah. What's the point?
There is really no point. I have a few close friends that know about it.
Few close friends.
But that's about it. My parents-in-law, they don't know.
Oh, they don't?
They don't. And that's something that my husband and I have spoken about. And he tells me, whatever you do, please don't let them know.
Do you plan on ever telling your children?
Yes, I do.
Do you think they might have a hard time keeping it from their grandparents?
No, I don't think so.
When do you think you'll tell them?
I think that they need to be mature. It's not really an age thing. I think they need to be mature enough to listen, to perhaps learn from it, because that would be the goal.
I bet you watch them close.
Oh yeah, they really can't. They don't even know. They have no idea. I tell them, listen, don't try to play with me because you don't know.
Yeah. One day you'll find out.
Yeah.
So I imagine that this experience has influenced your parenting.
Perhaps, maybe subconsciously, yeah. Thank the Lord. My kids are really well behaved, which I feel is a blessing. But I think that if I had a teenager, like a rebellious teenager, I think I would have been on it immediately.
Are they dating?
They're not dating yet.
When they do, you're going to be watching real closely.
Oh, yeah. I'm highly concerned about that. And I tell them all the time, that if you ever have a breakup, it's going to feel like the end of the world. Because it does. It feels like it.
I meant to ask you, did Oscar carry a gun?
He did.
He did?
He did, yes.
So dangerous.
Yes, he used to carry, I don't know, I think it was like a 9mm. I never saw it loaded, but he had it.
He carried an unloaded gun.
In my dumb mind, I never saw any bullets, but I'm sure he had bullets around.
Gosh.
Obviously. But I don't think that was the most dangerous thing that he did. Obviously, you have a gun, that's not a good thing. But looking back at it, I knew he had a gun, but for some reason that didn't feel scary to me. He used to consume a lot of cocaine, and that felt scary.
Did you partake in drugs also?
No, never. Actually, I used to do everything in my power to get it away from him. And I put myself in harm's way a lot of the times because I would see him like snorting cocaine, and I would take the cocaine from his hand, and I would throw it out the window.
Oh boy. Did that make him mad?
No, not really. But that could have.
Yeah.
That could have. I could have put myself in big danger.
Looking back, do you think your parents could have done anything better to keep you out of trouble?
Yes. I think what happened was that I fell down the cracks. My father was in South America. He was kind of living his life. He had a new wife. My mother got remarried. She had a new baby. I kind of went under the radar. That's exactly what happened. I went under the radar. I really didn't have a lot of supervision. I had a lot of balls for my age, honestly. And I was very smart, like street smart, basically. So by the time they figured out I was in the wrong path, it was too late. Because when you have a child and they're going down the wrong path, you need to get them as soon as possible, and intervene. When they tried to intervene, I was too far. I was just not reachable. I needed to, learn the hard way.
And you did.
Unfortunately. And I did. And at that point, when I came out and I was on probation, it wasn't even up to them anymore. I had to make sure I was doing the right thing. They didn't have to do that anymore because they knew that if I messed up, I was going back in.
So how was it being in jail?
I'm thankful for it. I am. I'm thankful. Looking back at it, I'm thankful for the experience. And I wouldn't have had it any other way. I think I needed it.
You don't think you would have turned straight if you hadn't gone to jail?
Probably not. No.
Did you feel the lure of crime when you got back out, or were you just done? Did jail cure you?
It cured me, and I'm so thankful for it. Looking back at it, like, it was such a good learning experience. I think, honestly, for me, it built character for me. And the 6 years probation sealed the deal, because I knew I was being watched. I knew any little mistake, I could go back. So I was very cautious of my surroundings, of who I was with. You know, keep in mind, I'm 17. I'm hanging out with friends in the car, and I know people are smoking weed, and I would eliminate myself from those situations. And they would tell me, but why are you leaving? Nothing's going to happen. I'm like, something is going to happen.
You're like, you don't know what I've seen.
I'm like, something is going to happen.
You haven't been there.
Right. And if I do any little thing, I'm going deep. So I would walk back home 20, 30 blocks just to keep myself out of trouble.
Do you regret what you did?
No, I don't. I don't regret it. I don't. I regret, the part of like stealing people's identity. That's not good. I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me. That's regretful. But as far as what it did for me, from selfish standpoint, what that did for me, what I learned from it, and for the person that I've become, I don't regret it. That was just my path. That's the path I needed to go down to straighten up.
And so now you've got a great job. You're a professional.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
all that's behind you.
Yeah, I'm pursuing my master's. I'm a homeowner. I travel 6-7 times a year. I'm going to go on to my 18th year of marriage. It feels right. It feels like I am where I need to be.
You've got 2 great kids.
Both honor roll.
Look at you.
One is applying to college. Yeah. I really turned it around. I really did.
So happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Why did you want to share your secret today?
My friend, she said, oh, she knows my story. And she said, oh my God, you have to call, you have to share your story. And I think the whole purpose of the story is you can turn your life around, and a conviction doesn't define you. People have a right to make a mistake, to learn, to change, to evolve. If you haven't changed as a person, especially in 20 years, and you've had no growth. With hard struggles, you can come out at the other end winning.
Well, you told an amazing story.
Thank you.
I want to thank you so much for sharing it with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Vanessa was so fortunate to have her record sealed. Maybe her judges saw something in her, a certain potential, that if she were given just one more chance, she could turn her life around. And she did not disappoint, did she? And remember Jessica, Vanessa's childhood friend who convinced her to be on the podcast?
She was hiding in the bathroom.
I was hiding in the bathroom. Wait, put him on speaker.
Did you hear me cry?
I did.
You definitely heard some details she hadn't heard before.
I did. I have questions.
And Jessica's going to be my special guest on our premium show, The Secret Room Unlocked, in just 1 week. She's going to give us her take on Vanessa's secret through the lens of a close friend.
The reality is that we grew up in a very rough neighborhood. I mean, I literally witnessed a drive-by in front of the building where she used to live and I used to live.
Join me, Susie Lark, in 1 week. You can subscribe to Unlocked on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Patreon.com. And there's a free trial. Your support means everything and helps keep the secrets coming.
Hi, it's Ben.
Hi, Ben. It's Lucy.
Lucy. I recently got a call from Lucy.
Lucy the Sleepwalker.
She was the sleepwalker in our recent episode, Sleepwalker, where she told her amazing secret of how she sleepwalks at night and nobody knows. What can I help you with?
I'm calling because we have some beef.
We have beef.
Yes.
What is going on?
So I see that you brought back Pod On to the show, and I never got my chance to say it.
You did not say Pod On your episode?
I did not. So I kind of feel like you owe me that.
I am happy to make good. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Okay, here we go.
Here it goes.
Pod On, Lucy.
Pod On, Ben.
Everything good between us?
Everything's going to be great now.
Okay, great. In other podcast news, you can now listen to your favorite indie podcast that could on YouTube. Subscribe there to hear current episodes and classics. I'll drop the link in the show notes. Do you have an amazing secret to share with the world? Set it free by clicking the Share a Secret button at secretroompod.com. I'm waiting to hear from you. Thanks this week to Jessica Ruiz, Susie Lark, and Luna Patel. Do you want to also read the tagline for the show while we're at it?
Yes.
The mic is yours.
This is The Secret Room, a podcast about stories no one ever tells.
Perfect.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
I'm Ben Ham.